Iya.
Selamat datang kami ucapkan kepada para peserta webinar. Lembaga Pengembangan Pendidikan dan Pembelajaran LPPPUM merupakan salah satu unit kerja di UM yang menyelenggarakan, mengelola, dan mengordinasi kegiatan pengembangan pendidikan dan pembelajaran, khususnya dalam pengembangan kurikulum, pengembangan perencanaan, pelaksanaan, dan penilaian pembelajaran daring maupun luring. LPPP turut serta melayani berbagai kegiatan pelatihan dan pendampingan untuk sekolah, perguruan tinggi, dan masyarakat lainnya. Perkenalkan, kami selaku penyelenggara kegiatan siang hari ini berasal dari Pusat Kurikulum Pembelajaran dengan penawaran berbagai layanan seperti pelatihan Applied Approach atau AA, layanan terdekat pada bulan depan, bulan November. Selain itu, kami juga menyelenggarakan pelatihan peningkatan keterampilan teknik instruksional atau pekerti. Pekerti dan AA, kami membuka layanan untuk umum maupun personal atau kerjasama antar institusi. Kami juga membuka kerjasama antar institusi untuk layanan Training of Trainer atau TOT, instruksi pelatihan pekerti dan AA. Selain itu, kami juga membuka pelatihan pembelajaran aktif berbasis multimedia di perguruan tinggi dan sekolah, serta pengembangan kurikulum perguruan tinggi dan sekolah. Berkenaan layanan tersebut, Bapak, Ibu, dan teman-teman peserta bisa menghubungi kami melalui Kepala Pusat Kurikulum dan Pembelajaran Ibu Nurin Munfaridah PhD pada nomor 0856 4860 7432. Untuk layanan AA dan pekerti, Bapak Ibu bisa menggunakan link pada chat Zoom yang nanti akan dibagikan oleh tim kami untuk mengunduh flyer AA dan pekerti. Selain layanan di atas, kami juga terbuka terhadap berbagai jenis layanan yang berkenaan dengan pengembangan kurikulum dan pembelajaran sesuai kebutuhan Bapak dan Ibu maupun teman-teman peserta, serta institusi lain seperti pemateri workshop dan lain sebagainya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, dan salam sehat untuk kita semua. Selamat datang kami ucapkan para peserta webinar Critical and Ethical Use in AI in Research and Teaching. Webinar kali ini juga merupakan bentuk kerjasama antara LPPPUM dengan Dunia Dosen. Kami ucapkan terima kasih atas kolaborasi Dunia Dosen. Kepada yang terhormat Direktur Pendidikan Universitas Negeri Malang, Profesor Evi Eliana SSMA PhD, kepada yang terhormat Kepala Pusat Lembaga Pengembangan Kurikulum dan Pengajaran PKP Universitas Negeri Malang, Ibu Nuril Munfaridah PhD, kepada yang terhormat tim pengembang PKP UM, kepada yang terhormat tim Dunia Dosen, dan kepada yang terhormat Bapak, Ibu, serta teman-teman peserta webinar. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin, kita panjatkan nikmat kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, sehingga kita dapat berkumpul melalui tatap layar hari ini dalam webinar Critical and Ethical Use of AI in Research and Teaching. Perkenalkan, saya Windy Kusnia, Master of Ceremony hari ini. Sebelumnya, izinkan saya untuk membacakan susunan webinar. Agenda yang pertama adalah pembukaan, kemudian dilanjutkan dengan berdoa, sambutan pimpinan, penutupan seremonial, serta acara inti webinar. Sebelum kita mulai acara ini, marilah kita berdoa sejenak agar acara ini dapat berlancar dan memberikan manfaat untuk kita semua. Berdoa menurut agama dan keyakinan masing-masing disilahkan. Terima kasih. Mengeja agenda yang ketiga, yaitu sambutan sekaligus membuka webinar hari ini yang akan disampaikan oleh Direktur Pendidikan Universitas Negeri Malang, Profesor Evi Eliana, SSMA PhD. Untuk Prof. Evi, apakah sudah bergabung dengan kami?
Ya, saya sudah bergabung. Bu Windy. Terima kasih.
Iya, nggih. Prof. Evi, mungkin suaranya bisa dibesar sedikit lagi.
Apakah ini saya sedang di jalan? Semoga masih bisa
Oh,
terdengar dengan baik.
oke. Baik,
Oke.
terima kasih Prof. Evi.
Ya.
Untuk waktu dan layar dipersilahkan.
Terima kasih Bu Windy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. This is a collaborative webinar between UM and also University of Groningen, as well as with Dunia Dosen. Saya memakai bahasa gado-gado ya. Tema webinarnya ini menarik sekali, yaitu Critical and Ethical Use of AI in Research and Teaching. Pertama, kita harus ingat bahwa dunia dosen atau profesi sebagai pendidik itu adalah profesi yang berat sekali etikanya. Jadi, akar dari profesi kita memang adalah etika. Selain juga kita juga harus berpikir kritis. Jadi saya selalu mengingatkan kepada mahasiswa, mungkin apa namanya titik terberatnya adalah bagaimana kita harus bisa memenuhi kewajiban kita dalam mengajar itu dengan secara beretika dan juga dalam itu juga secara beretika. Nah, dalam webinar siang ini nanti kita akan bisa menyimak gitu ya materi dari narasumber kita, Francisco Jose Castillo dari University Center of Learning and Teaching, University of Groningen. Thank you very much for spending your time, spending this early morning with us. Thank you very much, Francisco. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Ibu Nuril, PKP dari LPPP Universitas Malang. Dan juga semua pihak yang buat berhubungan dan mengucapkan terima kasih karena sharing your time with us siang ini untuk belajar bersama mengupas bagaimana kita bisa menggunakan AI secara kritis dan juga kritis. Saya kira itu atas nama pimpinan Universitas Negeri Malang saat ini mungkin semuanya sedang terdeploy kemana-mana karena ini tengah semester. Jadi apa namanya? Ini pun saya juga sedang perjalanan dari Surabaya ke Malang. Baik, semoga webinarnya lancar. Thank you very much. With that in mind, so I open the webinar. Selamat berwebinar. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, terima kasih Prof. Evi. Semoga selamat sampai tujuan ya, Prof.
Mbak Windy mute.
Oke, mohon maaf. Ya, baik-baik itulah Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman sekalian pembukaan webinar pada siang hari ini. Jika Bapak Ibu pimpinan memiliki kepentingan lainnya dapat meninggalkan room Zoom. Baik, Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman peserta, webinar hari ini akan dibersamai oleh moderator kita yaitu Kepala Pusat Lembaga Pengembangan Kurikulum dan Pelajaran atau PKP UM, Ibu Nuril Munfaridah. Selamat siang, Bu Nuril, sudah bergabung dengan kami hari ini.
Selamat siang, Mbak Windy.
Ya, selamat siang. Gimana, Bu,
Bisa?
kabarnya?
Alhamdulillah sehat.
Oke,
Ya,
Alhamdulillah. Baik,
terdengar
Bu
dengan
Nuril.
terdengar dengan baik suara saya karena saya juga ada di ruangan yang ada suara di belakang saya, jadi sepertinya
Oke,
mungkin agak-agak berisik. Tapi
iya,
terdengar ya.
masih
Oke,
masih terdengar dengan baik, Bu Nuril. Baik, Bu
oke.
Nuril, sebelum Ibu membersamai webinar pada siang hari ini, izinkan saya untuk membacakan CV singkat dari Bu Nuril. Oke. Ibu Nuril Munfaridah, SPD MPD PhD, lahir pada tahun 1988, menempuh pendidikan S1 di Universitas Negeri Malang pada tahun 2010, S2 di Universitas Negeri Malang pada tahun 2013, dan S3 di University of Groningen di tahun 2022. Saat ini, Bu Nuril berhome base di S2 Pendidikan Fisika, Fakultas Matematika dan Ilmu Pengetahuan Alam. Bu Nuril juga saat ini memiliki tugas tambahan sebagai Kepala Pusat Kurikulum dan Pembelajaran Lembaga Pengembangan Pendidikan dan Pembelajaran. Luar biasa Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman moderator kita siang hari ini. Baik Bu Nuril, untuk moderator hari ini, Bu Nuril kepada Bu Nuril, webinar saya serahkan sepenuhnya. Silahkan Bu Nuril.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih banyak Mbak Windy atas kesempatannya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to say hello to Dr. Fran, who is joining us today from University of Groningen in the Netherlands. So, good morning, Dr. Fran.
Good
Can you hear
morning.
me? Okay,
Yes,
how
I
are
can hear
yes,
you.
okay, how are you today?
Good. And you?
Yes, we are good, I guess. Yeah. So we are super excited for this session with you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our pleasure to have you. But before that, I would like to open this webinar session. I'm as a moderator, so I would like to welcome you all in the webinar held by LPPP, so Lembaga Pengembangan Pendidikan dan
Recording in
Pembelajaran.
progress.
So it's a kind of the unit in our university who focus on the development of education and also the learning process. So this is to give you some backgrounds, Dr. Fran. And we held this webinar in cooperation with Dunia Dosen, and we have chosen that the title of our webinar, Critical and Ethical Use in AI of Research and Teaching. As MC already introduced that I'm Nuril, I will be a moderator for this session. Before we start, I would like to introduce our speaker. Yeah, so Dr. Fran, we have a speaker from University of Groningen. He is an assistant professor in University of Groningen in the Netherlands. Yeah, he's actively doing research regarding the use of AI. As we might know, people in the world have to deal with the use of AI. Some perspectives say that AI is making our life easier, but some perspective also say that some people also against the use of AI, especially when we talk about in the education context. We have to be aware and literate what should we do in the use of AI. So it will be our pleasure, Dr. Fran, to have you here, to have your talk here. The session will be in 120 minutes, yeah, for almost that. And we will have some session like the plan that we have already. We also will have some question and answer for those of you who connected with us. If you want to ask the question directly to Dr. Frank, just give a sign, raise your hand, and then in the end of the session, we will give permission for you to open the microphone and then say directly to Dr. Frank. Or you can also type some questions in the chat box, and then I will deliver the questions to Dr. Frank. Again, one more thing, if you want to ask in context of Indonesia, so you can also ask in Indonesia, in Bahasa, that's also fine. I will try my best to deliver the questions, to translate the questions to Dr. Fran, so we can have the same understanding later on. So, Dr. Fran, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nuril.
Okay, so Dr. Fran, may you have the floor for this session of the webinar.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, share. Okay, can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes. Yeah, it's clear now. Okay.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, everyone. As Nuril said, my name is Francisco Castillo, and I am speaking from the Center for Learning and Teaching at the University of Groningen. And I just wanted to say that it's a pleasure to be here with you today in this seminar, Critical and Ethical Use of Artificial Intelligence in Research and Teaching. And I really hope that this is helpful for you. So having said that, before starting the workshop itself, I also would like to introduce myself a little bit. So I am from Spain in Europe, and to be more concrete, I am from a city in the southeast of Spain, which is called Almeria. And regarding my background, I did my PhD in both in the University of Almeria and the Autonomous University of Barcelona, where I started my research path in science education. But after that, after my PhD, I started collaborating with the University of Groningen. So I worked 2 years and a half as a postdoctoral researcher at the Center for Learning and Teaching, where I started my, let's say, my path regarding critical AI literacy. At the moment, as Dr. Nuril said, I am an assistant professor and I am teaching courses such as research methods in science education, but also about critical AI literacy for instructors. So I would like also to mention that as an assistant professor at the University of Groningen, I am also coordinating several projects that has as a focus critical AI literacy. And I am mentioning this because perhaps you can visit our websites, the project websites, where you will be able to find a lot of resources about the topic of critical AI literacy. So two of these projects are Infinite and Act AI. These projects are funded by the European Commission, by the European Union. And just briefly, I would like to mention that Infinite, for example, is focused, its main objective is to prepare faculty, higher education faculty, but also students to critically and ethically use artificial intelligence technology. And in the case of Act AI, its main objective is to establish an European academy, let's say, to help pre-service teachers, in-service teachers, school leaders, instructors in the university, to help them to use in an ethical and responsible way the artificial intelligence. So this is kind of the background that I wanted to emphasize a little bit. And that being said, I would like to explain to you how it's going to be the structure of today's webinar. So first of all, I will try to clarify what I mean by artificial intelligence literacy. And for that, I will present a specific framework developed by the European Commission and the OECD. After that, we will move to a more practical part, more hands-on part, let's say, in which I will present to you 3 different AI tools, and you will test them. But above all, what I want you to do is to critically analyze them. That's the point of today's session, to critically analyze it. And for that, I will try to give you like the tools to critically analyze them. And finally, for me, one of the most important part of this session will be the discussion about which ethical dilemmas emerge when we are using these kind of tools. So in a nutshell, we will have a first part in which I will explain a framework related to AI literacy. Then we will apply part of this AI literacy framework with different AI tools. And finally, ethical dilemmas. So let's start with the first section of this webinar, which is called Understanding AI Literacy. And as I mentioned before, the main objective of this section will be to understand what AI literacy means. And basically what I want to do here is to explain to you which competencies should we have if we want to be AI literate, especially critical AI literate, but not only competencies. We also need to have certain knowledge about AI, how AI works, how can we analyze it, etc. But also the skills that we need if we decide to use it. So this will be the first part of the lecture. But before, I would like to hear from you. Basically, what I would like to know is, what does AI literacy mean to you from your own perspective? So if someone asks you, for example, what should a person know or be able to do to be AI literate? What would you say? So for answering this question, you can use the QR code that appear in the screen. So you have two 5 minutes, better 2 minutes, to say, to explain what is for you AI literacy. What would you need to know to be AI literate? Are you able to join the QR code?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it works. So we don't need to write our names as well, right?
No. No need for names.
Maybe some people they are worried, so we can write our answer without information about our identity. Yes, okay.
Exactly.
So, Bapak Ibu, it's time for us. Jadi ini waktunya kita untuk merespon apa yang disampaikan oleh Dr. Fran. Bapak Ibu bisa scan barcode ini dan memberikan jawabannya. Jadi memang tidak ada suara ini. Jadi Dr. Fran is waiting for our response at this moment. So it's for about 2 till 5 minutes. Ya, Bapak Ibu. Okay, great. Thank you. Some people they are saying done. Okay, that's great. So thank you. Did you see any responses from us, Dr.
Yeah,
Fran? Yes. Okay, great.
yeah. In fact,
Yeah, you can also use your phone. Yeah, scan the barcode with your phone, and then you can go just directly to the link, and then you can type the answer. Bapak Ibu bisa langsung ke link ini. Nanti kalau di scan, langsung ada linknya untuk diberikan jawaban. Namanya bisa di skip. Oke. Thank you, Pak Arya. Done, sir.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so we
great.
have already very interesting answers. For example, the first one would be understand the basic concept of and function of AI, recognize the effect on the community. This is super important, the effect on the community. Very good, very good. AI literacy means having the knowledge and skills to understand, use, question, very good, question and create with artificial intelligence responsibly. And a third one, very interesting, would be a person should understand how AI works, its limitations, and its impact in society. Okay, okay. I am liking the answers. Very good, very good. Okay, so now let's continue. I just wanted to know your perspective because for me it's super important to know in advance, like, what do you think about AI literacy? Um, so before presenting the framework itself of the AI literacy, for me it's also super important to ask ourselves, why AI literacy? Why do we need this new literacy? Because we have digital literacy, scientific literacy, we have so many literacies, so why this one? So, as probably all you know, in November 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT, and after that, it seems that every day we have a new AI tool for education. And the thing is that with every AI tool that they present, the companies are promising that they are going to save the world, let's say. They are going to help us to do everything easier in a faster way. These are the promises that they made. So the appearance of this amount of AI tools has clear consequences for the society, but specifically also for educational institutions, such as universities. So we already know, thanks to research, that students, higher education students, but also secondary students, are already using everyday AI tools for different purposes. For example, generating text, write essays, complete assignments, etc. But also, there are also recent research that analyze how teachers in different levels of education are using it. And effectively, teachers are using AI tools for lesson plan design, grading, etc. However, this use of AI raises a lot of questions. For example, how are these tools being used? How is their arrival changing teaching and learning in higher education? For example, in STEM fields. Are educators and students fully aware of the ethical challenges these tools bring to us? And do they have the criteria to critically evaluate the outputs that artificial intelligence produces? So, according to research, many users do not reflect critically when using AI tools. Why? There's very different, let's say, reasons, but one of them is that we don't have enough training. We don't have enough courses, workshops, etc., to develop the so-called critical AI literacy. For that reason, if we do not educate people, students, higher education teachers, etc., to use AI tools critically and reflectively, we may face several risks. For example, uncritical use of AI tools. This could lead us to the spread of misinformation or reinforce stereotypes. If we over rely too much on AI for everyday tasks such as writing, problem solving, or decision making, this fact can make us forget that we have skills as human beings. We can write, we can think, we can solve problems. So if we rely too much on them, we will lose these skills. And one super important thing that I would like to emphasize also is that AI systems are designed to process information, not emotions. So when we use these kind of tools, we risk to forget the emotional and motivational factors that drive learning, communication, and empathy. So taking all of this into consideration, it seems, in my opinion, that it's super important to create courses, workshops, etc. regarding AI literacy. However, before we develop these courses, it's super important to clarify what we mean by AI literacy. So having said that, I will start with some frameworks that are already developing AI literacy frameworks. For example, with AI literacy framework developed by the European Commission and the OECD. And why? Because this framework for me has something very particular, and it's that normally frameworks so far focus on the technical knowledge that we should have about AI tools, about AI in general. But this framework also presents competencies related to the ethical dimensions. So for that reason, I'm going to present this framework to you today. And I'm going to start with the definition. So what does this framework actually mean by AI literacy? So according to this framework, AI literacy represents, of course, always at the beginning we mention the technical knowledge, but also the long-lasting skills and future-ready attitudes that people need to live and work in a world shaped by AI. However, now it comes the important part. This AI literacy framework or this AI literacy definition consider that to be a literate helps learners to understand, to create with, to manage and design AI system, but most importantly, to think critically about their benefits, their risks, and the ethical implications. So in other words, it's not only about knowing how AI works, which is also important, but it's also to develop the right mindset, a critical mindset towards AI tools. Okay? So apart from the definition, this framework is present like in order to be AI literate, we need to develop four main domains. What are these domains? Engaging with AI, creating with AI, managing AI, and designing AI. But what do these domains mean specifically? Okay, so when we mention engaging with AI, this means that if we decide to use AI tools, of course, AI can be used for access new content, information, or recommendation. But before that, learners, so us, we also need to recognize when AI is used. And then when we identify when artificial intelligence is being used and why, we need to evaluate how accurate and relevant the outputs are from the AI tools. Then the second domain is about creating with AI. So basically this happens when learners, us, people, citizens, collaborate with AI in a creative and problem-solving process. So basically it involves guiding the AI's output through prompts and feedback while, and this is super important, while making sure that the content that it produces is fair, responsible, and appropriate. So here is important to emphasize the ethical dimension. Then we have the domain which is called managing AI. Here the focus is on deciding intentionally if and how AI can support and improve human work. And I want to emphasize the if, because sometimes we believe that AI should be used and perhaps it shouldn't. We will discuss about data privacy, etc. And finally, designing with AI. And this domain is about understanding how AI systems work and how they are connected to social and ethical issues. But these four domains are, at the same time, made up of 22 specific competencies. So in order to be AI literate, according to this framework, we should have these 22 specific competencies. And each competency describes a concrete aspect of how people should be able to interact with, use, and think critically about AI. Finally, in addition, the framework also describes which knowledge, skills, and attitudes are necessary to use AI in a critical and ethical way. I'm sorry if I am repeating a lot of times critical and ethical, but I think nowadays we really need to emphasize this, the critical and ethical way of using AI. So now I'm going to present to you not all the competencies, but for me the basic ones. Okay, all the competencies that we would need to be AI literate. So here the framework presents the competencies linked to the domains that I present previously. This means that we have competencies linked to engaging with AI, with managing AI, etc. So let's start with the competencies that are connected with engaging with AI. So first, according to this framework, we should be able to recognize AI's role and influence in different contexts. What does this mean? This means basically we should be able to identify when AI is present in the tools that we use every day. For example, when we receive content recommendations on our social media, or when learning platforms adapt to our progress. So first, we need to identify which tools, which websites, which apps are using artificial intelligence, and then we need to understand why it's there, why the artificial intelligence is there, and what it's trying to do. So this would be more a diagnosis phase, let's say. Second, once we have identified and understand why this app or website is using artificial intelligence, we need to evaluate whether AI outputs should be accepted, revised, or rejected. In other words, we need to think critically about how accurate, fair, and reliable, this is super important, reliable AI-generated content really is. Because as we will see after in the knowledge section, AI can produce misinformation and biased results. And in fact, it happens a lot of times. Third, we also need to analyze how predictive AI systems influence our perspectives. What does this mean? This means that we need to understand how AI uses data patterns to make suggestions. Like, for example, if you watch Netflix or a similar platform, you will receive recommendations These recommendations come from your data, the patterns that the AI system find. Let's continue. The fourth competency is about explaining how AI can amplify biases. So in simple terms, what I would like to emphasize here is that we should be able to explore how AI tools, for example, or AI systems, for example, facial recognition or hiring algorithms. So we should be able to explore and reflect about the data and human decisions that created these AI tools. What do I mean with this? AI tools are not neutral. So AI tools use data to train, and this data is biased. Why? Because we human beings generated this data. So if this data is biased, the AI system will be biased. So we need to be aware of another important aspect that we should take into account is that AI tools, AI systems use energy and natural resources. In fact, the leader of my center, Lucia Bramidou, always mentions that artificial intelligence is neither artificial nor intelligence, because it comes from natural resources, artificial intelligence, and it's not intelligence because basically it only do statistics. It doesn't think like we do, like human beings. It only generates statistics to find patterns. Okay. Then the final competence associated with engaging with AI is about analyzing whether the use of AI fits with ethical principles and human values. This means that before using AI tools, we should first look inside ourselves. What are our values? Are these values connected or aligned with the use of AI tools, etc.? So yeah, now let's go. Sorry, the final competence in regarding engaging with AI is to connect artificial intelligence, social and ethical impacts to its technical capabilities and limitations. So in other words, we should understand what AI can and cannot do. We need to know its strengths and its weaknesses, and what types of consequences or impact this use might bring to our society. We will discuss this at the end of the presentation, the consequences. So now let's talk about the competencies related to the domain creating with AI. So here the first competency is about using AI systems to explore new perspectives and approaches to build on original ideas. What does this mean? This means experimenting with artificial intelligence to broaden our thinking, come up with new ideas, or look at problems from different angles. But always taking into account that the ideas should be our ideas, because if not, we could deal with some things like copyright, like authorship, etc. So the ideas should come from us, and then we can try to improve them if you consider that it will help through the usage of AI. So the second competency is about visualizing, prototyping, and combining ideas using different types of AI systems. So in practice, what this means is to try now different AI tools to work with different kinds of media, like text, images, or music, to explore and refine our ideas. But again, we human beings should be in the center. The AI shouldn't take the decisions for us. Okay? The third competency is about collaborating with generative AI systems to get feedback, refine results, and reflect on our thought process. So this is about engaging in a back and forth process with AI. For example, testing prompts, improving responses, etc. The fourth competency is about analyzing how AI can either protect or violate content authenticity and intellectual property. And this is what I was mentioning before. So This means exploring how AI-generated content can sometimes reuse or imitate existing work, and thinking carefully about when that's fair, original, or when proper credit should be given. Again, AI systems are trained with human data, and then it doesn't create anything new. It's basically replicate what has been already done. So we need to be super careful when we use it. For example, if you use it for your essays, etc., because it's going to reflect something that is already done. So who is the author of this? ChatGPT, you, etc. So be very careful about how you use it and when you use it. Then we have the final competency, which is about explaining how AI system perform tasks using clear and accurate language. So what does this mean? Normally, I don't know if you have experienced this, but when I have provided workshops about artificial intelligence literacy, some people tell me, yeah, but the AI knows, AI thinks, AI feels. No, these verbs are for human beings or not for AI. AI cannot think or AI cannot feel. AI can imitate what a human being would feel or would think. Okay, so this is super important for you to know. Okay, so let's use a proper language when we talk about AI. And finally, regarding the competencies related to managing AI, the first competency is deciding. I mentioned this before. The first competency is about deciding whether to use AI system depending on the nature of tasks. Again, for example, if a teacher sends you to do an essay, it's not just because. It's because it's part of the learning process. You need to think, you need to write, you need to rethink, you need to rewrite, etc. And all this process, in the whole process, you are learning. If we let the AI tool does that for us, you will not be learning. And in fact, there is already research mentioning that those people that use AI to write, their knowledge about writing has decreased a lot. So instead of improving our writing style, writing skills, we are losing them if we use the AI. So take this also into consideration. So the second competency is about breaking down a problem based on the strengths and limitation of both AI system and humans. This means that, for example, ChatGPT cannot solve everything. You need to break down the problem if you decide to use ChatGPT in smaller problems. The third competency is about guiding generative AI systems by giving clear instructions, the right context, and evaluation criteria. This is about prompt engineering. We need to know how to dialogue with these AI tools in order to use them. And the fourth and final competence focus on developing and communicating clear guidelines for using AI systems that align with human values, promote fairness, and ensure transparency. This means that when we use AI, we should be transparent about it. So if we decided to use it for an essay, you should say clearly, this AI tool, for example, Grammarly, has been used in order to develop the essay. Okay, so these were all the competencies that I wanted to show. There are more competencies in the framework, so if you are interested, you can go to the original document. I will send it to Dr. Nuril, and then she will be able to send it to you if you are interested. But now, I'm going to focus on the knowledge and the skills that we need to develop in order to acquire these competencies. And for me, this part is super important because I will try to demystify AI systems a little bit. So let's start with the knowledge. And let's discuss first about the nature of AI. So as I mentioned before, AI doesn't really understand or know anything, anything. It only imitates intelligent behavior. How? By finding patterns in the data. Basically, it does statistics, but AI doesn't have a real understanding of what is happening in our classrooms or our emotions, etc. So AI doesn't know anything about the world, basically. um, Another super important aspect, it's sometimes there is a misconception about AI. Some people consider that AI is super objective, super neutral, etc. But no, AI is not neutral. Basically, we need to understand that it depends on the people who create and train it. So imagine that I am a developer of an AI tool. So I am the one deciding the algorithm, I am the one deciding the data in which will be trained, and I will be deciding everything in the process of designing this AI tool. So if the data that I provided to the tool has mistakes or biases, AI will repeat it. And I will provide examples after. A third aspect that we should take into account. AI currently is already changing the way we work and learn. I am not sure in a good way or in a bad way, but just let it like this right now. The thing here is that if we are in an AI world, we should try to learn about it and adapt to their capabilities. Does this mean that we should allow the AI to take all the decisions? No. If we decide to use it, better to complement our skills, not replace them. Okay? Another important factor we should take into account is that AI has limits. It's true that it can make some tasks faster than us, it's true, but it cannot understand, as I mentioned before, context, emotions, or values like humans do. And here I would like to stop a moment because a lot of AI tools in education are emphasizing you will be able to learn faster in a more efficient way. Do we need to learn faster? No, learning is a slow process. Learning is a process in which you need to make a lot of mistakes, then to learn from these mistakes. So why the hurry? Why should we learn in 1 month? We have our whole life to learn. So, and it's a beautiful process. So yeah, I am a little bit against these messages in which, yeah, everything should be faster, efficient, etc. I am trying to be super transparent regarding my views about AI tools, okay? Um, let's continue. As I was mentioning before, another knowledge that we should have take into account is that AI is part of our society. So this means that it's already affecting our way of living in society. I don't know if there is a government here in Europe that it's using already artificial intelligence for making decisions, etc. So AI is not anymore something for the future, it's something that is in our present. Regarding the skills, I will repeat this once and again. So one skill is to think critically when we use it. Okay. Also, if we decide to collaborate with it, let's be creative but also responsible. This means that we can use it for brainstorming, to explore new ideas, but always we should be the ones providing the ideas. Then we also need to know, if we decide to use AI tools, how to present, how to dialogue with AI tools. And finally, well, not finally, but in the fourth case, we should be self and socially aware. This means that we need to identify how AI is part of our daily life and how it is already influencing us. And in the fifth skill, let's say, I mentioned this before, but I think it's super important, especially in the university and educational. If you decide to use it, communicate it. There should be a transparency, a relationship with transparency, let's say. If you are doing your final project and and you are using AI, let your supervisor know, because he or she will help you about the usage of AI tools. How can you use it if you are allowed to, of course. And finally, as I mentioned before, we should need to have the knowledge to decide if the AI tool is good enough or if we should avoid using it. Okay. So this was the first part of the webinar. So this is the AI literacy framework that I think nowadays is more complete, but this is only my opinion. Every day, well, not every day, but every week we have a new AI literacy framework. So this is moving every day. Okay. Now, I would like to start the second part, in which, as I mentioned before, I will present to you different AI tools. You are going to be able to test them. And then for every tool, I want you to reflect critically about it. Okay? So let's start with the first AI tool. This AI tool, I don't know if you know this AI tool. It's called Elicit. So I'm going to present Elicit as they do, okay? So as they explain themselves. So according to them, Elicit is an AI tool that helps to make the research process, of course, easier and faster, because everything is about easier and faster. How? They say that with this AI tool, you can find and select academic papers. You can organize them by importance. You can extract the most important information. And with this AI tool, you can also write short summaries. Okay, but instead of explaining in an abstract way, what I'm going to do is to show you the AI tool right now. So, Nuril, can you let me know if you can see the website, or you still see my presentation?
We already see your website. I mean, no, it's not your presentation. It's
Okay,
already Elicit
perfect.
website. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So let's start with Elicit, as I was mentioning. So the first thing that you will be able to see in this website is that the company allows you to create a research report, a systematic review, or find papers. Okay. So today we are going to delve a little bit more in the third tab, in find papers. So what should we do in order to find papers? First of all, you need to write a question or a sentence about the topic that you are interested in. For example, in my case, it's gonna be, what is the impact of artificial intelligence on learning outcomes? Okay. So then we press here, and then it will appear, if the internet works, it is working perfect, different papers. Okay, but now you have to, let's say, to filter them. So which options of filtering we have? First, we have the tab which is called sort, and here you can choose papers that are most relevant. Most relevant, by the way, by whom? How do we know that is relevant? Which algorithm is using in order to decide that is relevant? And a very interesting question that we should ask ourselves also is, which languages appear here? Because I can see only papers in English. But as a Spanish, I also speak Spanish, and I know that there are a lot of papers about AI in AI. Do them appear here? No, only English. So this is already a bias that we are seeing in this AI tool. But in any case, let's continue. So we can choose between most relevant, most recent, least recent, most cited, least cited, and title. Okay. Then we have other filters. For example, we can choose those that the PDF is there for everyone. We can choose the publication date, for example, and then
Recording stopped.
we also can choose the journal quality. I don't know if you are aware about the quality metrics in journals, but basically let's say the best journals are Q1, Q2, okay? And then we have the type of study. So let's say that I'm going to choose the most cited, and then I'm going to choose papers from 2020 to 2025, and I only want papers classified as Q1 and Q2, and then we apply. Okay, let's see what we find. Well, we are not finding anything because my internet is not working. Sorry for this. Okay, now we have it. So as you can see, here we see the title of the paper, the authors, the journal, and then the citations. Okay? And also we can see here that we have the full text. In the second column, we have a short summary. But let's say that I want to know what is the methodology of the paper.
Recording in progress.
So for that, we need to press the tab column, and then here you will see a new column, let's say, in which you can write, for example, the methodology. And then we should, and then we should to write the instructions. For example, I want to know what kind of research methodology is being used in each paper. And then we press the tab add column. And then here it will appear a new column in which it will explain the methodology of the paper. Okay, so let's say that these two are interesting to me. So now either you download them from internet because it's open, or you go to your database, university databases, and download them. Okay, so by the way, you can also save these papers into your own library, let's say, when you create an account. So now that I have shown you a little bit about the AI tool, what I would like you now is to go to elicit.com, search for 2-3 papers that from a topic that you are interested, sorry. Explore a little bit how the tool works, but most importantly, when you explore it, I would like you to answer through the QR code. In your opinion, what are the advantages of this AI tool? What are the limitations? This is super important. What are the limitations that you can see? And above all, and this is what I would like you to think more about, is do you think that using this specific AI tool is ethical? Why or why not? Okay, so now you will have 10-15 minutes to explore the AI tools and answer this question. Okay, so I'm going to open the question because now it's not open, the QR code. And then from now you have 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, okay? If you want to explain it, Nuril, in your language, it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Fran. Okay, so Bapak Ibu, this is the time for us to explore. Jadi kita diminta untuk mengeksplor di Elicit. Mungkin Bapak Ibu di sini sudah ada yang familiar. Silahkan masuk di Elicit, and then Bapak Ibu bisa mencari judul yang kiranya topiknya ya, topik risetnya Bapak Ibu gitu ya, atau apapun lah, bebas Bapak Ibu, harus topiknya Bapak Ibu. Kemudian nanti Bapak Ibu merefleksi apa manfaatnya, what are the advantages gitu ya, manfaatnya apa, what are the limitation, keterbatasannya apa, kemudian apakah penggunaan AI tools Elicit ini adalah ethical gitu ya. Kemudian kalau iya kenapa, kalau tidak kenapa, gitu ya Bapak Ibu ya. Fran pengen mendengar dari kita So, Fran, what do you want to
No,
say
no, yeah,
something?
I would like you to emphasize the ethical question.
Oke, oke. Nah, ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi ethical question. So ethical partnya itu dibuat Bapak Ibu mohon nanti untuk merefleksi ke situ. Apakah ini etis gitu ya Bapak Ibu? Kalaupun iya, kenapa? Kalau tidak, kenapa? Mohon untuk direspon. Bapak Ibu sudah familiar ya dengan elicit ya? Uh, some people they are writing in the chat box front. So I have tried
Okay.
Alice to find out papers for SLR studies. So some of people here, the participants, they are familiar with this AI and they already
Okay.
used it. Okay. That
Good,
will be
good.
interesting. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, so if they have used them, they have more knowledge to critically analyze it. So
Yeah.
focus on that part. So if they know already the tool, focus on thinking the critical aspects, the limitations that they find, and yeah, if for them it's ethical or not to use it.
Okay. All right. We will wait for about 10 minutes and then we will check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you already have the response. Yeah.
Yeah, I will be checking the responses. So
Great. some participants, they also write the explanation on the chat box. So you can also read the response in the chat box as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And in
Yeah.
fact, we already have quite a few answers in
Yeah.
the not only in the chat but also
Yeah. In
in
the
the
response, yeah.
yeah. And some of them are super interesting.
Yeah.
I will discuss them. Should I give 3 more minutes or do you think it's
Uh,
okay,
I
Dr.
think
Nuri?
it's okay. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We already have some responses, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay, so first I will comment some of the answers from here in the platform that I provided. So some answers are, I think it is ethical as long as it is explained in the research methodology. Um, Other people say that the advantages are increased efficiency, improve accuracy, increase access. But I would like to mention also another one. Let's see if I can find it, because there are a lot of answers. Basically, one person said that it's not ethical because basically not everyone has access to internet, to these AI devices, etc. So if not all of us can use it, so basically the richest people will be able to use it, and then some people that cannot afford that will not be able to use it. So is it ethical? Is it not ethical? So according to this person, wouldn't be ethical. Um, what else? What else? Limitations. One person mentioned that it's only English papers that appears in the web. There is no facilities to change the language. For example, if you want to look for a paper in your language, it's gonna be super difficult. Which is a huge bias because if you only know the perspective from people that speak English, yeah, we only have one perspective, but our contexts are super important. I can tell you that, for example, the research in Spain is not the same research than in US. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go for give me a second because we are going to try the next AI tool. I don't know if you know this specific AI tool. It's called Research Rabbit. Okay, it's connected. I know that the name is kind of funny, but it's connected in a way with the previous AI tool. What does this AI tool do? So basically, it's an artificial intelligence that helps you to search academic articles, but above all, it helps you to visualize connections between articles and authors. I will let you know how after, because now it sounds a little bit abstract. Um, you can receive personalized recommendations based on previous interests. How do you receive these recommendations? Probably with an AI algorithm. So remember that everything is connected. And yeah, now what I want to do is to show the AI tool now. So this was Elicit, and now we go to Research Rabbit. So what does appear when you enter into Research Rabbit? So first you have this section called New Collection, then New Category, and then Connect to Zotero. I don't know if you know Zotero. It's like Mendeley. So
Yeah.
basically to have your, yeah, you know, Nuri. Okay,
Reference.
perfect.
Yeah. Reference.
Yeah,
I think
it's for reference.
some people, yeah, some people here, they are familiar with Zotero and Mendeley. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you can connect this AI tool with Zotero. But let's start like a process. How good I use it if I could decide to use it. So first of all, you need to go to new collection. New collection mean topic. For example, artificial intelligence. Okay, now we have the collection. The sorry, I made a mistake. We need to start with category AI. Now we have this category, which is called AI, and then we need to add a collection. Collection, for example, it can be a impact of AI in learning. Okay, so now, as you can see, it appears this part in the website in which we need to add the papers. So previously in Elicit, I found two papers. So I'm going to put them here. So the first paper is this one. Okay. And then we need to press the button search. And then we need to make sure that which is the paper. It's this one. So I added to collection. Okay. And now I would like to add another one. So the second one that I found in Elicit. So here I put the second name, title, sorry, of the paper, and then we repeat the process. Okay, so we add it to our collection. And now we have two papers in our collection called Impact of AI in Learning. And now, as you can see, we have different options. We can explore papers that do a similar work. So basically, you will be able to find papers that are connected regarding the topic. You can find also papers in the past that were similar, and then you can explore like the authors of these papers. Okay, so now we are going to press similar work. And then this is what we will be able to see. So this is, I'm going to zoom in. As you can see, here we have a lot of papers that are connected. Okay. These are the two papers that I introduced, the green ones, and the rest are connected in a certain way, in one way or another. It's only the way to do it? No, we also can see this network in a timeline. So here we have from 2004 until 2022. Okay, and these are the papers according to the year. Okay, so now what I want you to do is basically the same that we did before. Go to Research Rabbit, explore a little bit of the AI tool, and then now I would like you to focus specifically on the ethical part. Okay, so we have 5-10 minutes, right, Nuril? I think with 5-10 minutes is enough
Yes.
to do this. And I will
All
activate,
right.
by the way, the next question.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
So Bapak Ibu, kita explore lagi research rabbit ini, gitu ya. Kemudian kita diminta untuk merefleksi, especially in the aspect of ethical, ya part. Ya, 5 menit Bapak Ibu. Apakah ini ethical atau tidak, gitu ya? Bapak Ibu di sini familiar menggunakan platform ini, gitu ya, bisa merespon lebih banyak, gitu ya nantinya. Bisa memberikan penjelasan lebih banyak. Monggo silahkan. Did you get some responses?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I have some responses.
Okay, great.
So let's wait for 3 more minutes, perhaps. And
Yes.
okay, so I think we have already quite
Yeah.
a few answers.
Okay.
I I am reading them. I can say that I found a pattern, like an AI system. Normally, a lot of people are saying that it is ethical to use this AI tool, but there is a but. As long as it is used to support research and learning honestly and transparently, it is important for users to respect copyright and journal access rules and not use the tool for plagiarism. There is another answer that says, overall, it is ethical to use because it promotes efficiency and access to knowledge. However, users must stay critical, avoid over reliances on the algorithm. Um, what else? Another person said that it's ethical because it's not producing plagiarism, let's say. Okay, so we will discuss after about if it is ethical or not to use this kind of tools. But now let's continue with the next AI tool. Well, by the way, thank you for answering these questions. And now I don't know if you can answer in the chat. I don't know if you know Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is an AI tool that was developed by Google. It uses its artificial intelligence, which is Google Gemini. And what you can do with this AI tool. So basically, you upload the papers that you want to read or you want to analyze, and this tool generates summaries and explanations based only on the papers that you uploaded. So this is a huge difference with other AI tools. Here, it will answer taking into account only the papers that you upload, okay? But is this the only thing that it does? No. So it can create mind maps to visualize and organize the ideas about the papers. It can develop study guides. So basically, it guides you through the study process. But also something that is super interesting, perhaps, it's that it can create podcasts. So basically, you upload the paper and um, it generates a podcast. Also, like a YouTube video, let's say, And yeah, the thing is that if you use it, you will be able to find certain patterns of these podcasts or these videos. For example, in order to do this workshop, I try out a little bit the AI tool, and then I submitted papers. I uploaded papers that were super critical with the AI. However, in the podcast, it didn't appear the criticism towards the AI. It only appeared like the positive part of AI. So this is only my perception. This is not published in a paper, but I found that any argument that is against AI tools appear in the podcast. So now it works. So this is like the first screen that you see, and you need to create a new book. It's called book, and then you submit the papers in which you are interested. Let me find them. It's here. Okay. And now the AI tool read again. We need to use the proper words, but let's say analyze statistically the papers, and then here in the middle, it's the space in which you can interact with the paper. So, for example, you really want to know what are the objectives of the papers that I uploaded. Okay, so you ask here the question, and then it analyzes the paper, and then you will receive an answer. So again, in theory, it is based only on the papers that I uploaded, but because of it is using Gemini, it is possible that it uses other pieces of information. Okay, but in theory, this program is made for avoiding this. A super interesting part of this AI tool is that the difference, for example, with ChatGPT or Gemini is that every answer, you can see here numbers, right? So every answer, this number allows you to go to the part of the text where the AI tool took the information. So basically every part that appear here, you can find the original text that it was used. Okay. Again, as I was mentioning before, it's not so it can do more things. For example, this is the part in which it will create the podcast. You just press it, the video summary. You can create mind gaps. You can even create reports. For example, you press the report button, and then you can create, for example, a summary, etc. And then everything will appear here in the right part. Let's see, for example, the mind gap. So let me check. So basically, it takes the information from the papers and create the mind gap. But this mind gap it's dynamic. For example, if you want to delve deeper into intelligent learning system, you press this button, and then you will have subsections. Then, if you want to delve deeper into definition and components, you can go farther. And the same here, you can go as far as you want. Okay, so this was the AI tool that the last AI tool that I wanted to show you. And now, once again, go to the QR code. Well, explore it a little bit, the AI tool, and just let me know your opinions. This is the last AI tool, I promise.
Oke, thank you, friend. So, Bapak Ibu, kita diminta untuk mengeksplor lagi, untuk mencoba dan merefleksi kembali ethical part dari AI yang telah ditunjukkan oleh Franz. Ya. Okay.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. I think most of people here, they are already using some AI that you presented, Fran,
Okay.
because I could see from the responses here, also in the chat box, that people they are kind of positive. Maybe you can also guess the perspective of people who are here. Yeah. So most
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them
yeah.
they're positive with this AI because they say, yeah, like what I said before, they think that the life is getting easier using this AI, kind of like that.
No worries, because I will, in the third part, we will discuss
About the
all
dilemmas.
the ethical dilemmas that emerge from the usage of AI tools.
Yeah.
Perhaps it can help to rethink a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Okay, we will wait. Bapak Ibu, kita tunggu responnya.
Okay, we have already a few answers, and
Okay.
again, there is a pattern. Basically, most of people consider it ethical as far as you don't use it to plagiarize, as far as human is in the center of decision. Also, it is ethical if when you apply it transparently and you say that you are using it. And then it's also ethical, according to these answers, when you verify the sources. Okay, when you take the decision. Okay. So now let's enter in this, for me, the most interesting part of the use of AI, which is the ethical dimension. And here I just wanted to emphasize that it's true that when we use these types of AI tools, I know that it can feel like they are super amazing because they seem to make everything faster, easier, etc. And we were discussing about the ethical aspects of the AI tool in the level. Let's say if we have two levels of ethical dimensions, the first level is to the when we think about plagiarism, when we think about human in the loop, etc. But I want to emphasize now, I'm going to explain now something, the ethical dilemmas that are more connected to the second level, which is our society. So what is the impact of the AI tools in our society? So the ethical dimensions that, according to research, that appear when we use these AI tools are several. I'm gonna try to explain some of them one by one, and at the end you can let me know your opinion, okay? But the first ethical dilemma that appears is called accountability. So when we talk about accountability, we mean that who is responsible when an AI system makes a mistake or causes harm. So to provide you a concrete example, nowadays we have different AI tools that are used to make decisions. For example, choosing who gets a job, who receives a loan, or a student who received a scholarship. But if the AI makes a wrong decision regarding these topics, the question that emerges is who is responsible? The company that created it, the institution, for example, the university that used it, or no one? So here in Europe, we have a law which is called GDPR. Um, it's basically about the regulation to privacy, etc. And this law emphasized that these decisions, the process to make these decisions should be transparent. However, what happens in reality is that many of these AI tools are not transparent, so you cannot access to the information. So if these AI tools are not transparent and above all, they are not able to say who is the responsible, is it ethical to use it if they make mistakes and no one is responsible for it? Yeah, I just let this question to reflect. There is also another bias, which is about bias and fairness. So the main idea here is that AI systems can reproduce or even increase the human biases that we have, that already exist in society. As I was mentioning before, this happens because AI tools are trained with large data sets created by people. And that databases include stereotypes and inequalities. I'm going to provide you an example. If an AI is trained mostly with pictures of male doctors, men doctors, and female nurses, it might later, the AI tool, assume that doctors should be men and nurses women. So here, if you ask, for example, to an AI tool, provide a picture about doctors and nurses. If the data set is already biased, probably the picture will show doctors, men, and nurses, women. So this is a small example, but it reflects that AI tools are not neutral, that they have all these problems, they have biases. Another aspect that we already discussed before is about authorship and intellectual property. So, as I was mentioning before, generative AI tools can create texts, images, music, or code that look completely original. It seems that it's original, but as I was mentioning before, they generate this content by learning from enormous amounts of material produced by other people. Books, artworks, songs, scientific papers, etc. And many of these materials are already protected by copyright, which means that the creators have legal rights over this work. So the dilemma here would be, when AI creates something new, who is the real author? Well, ethical decision making. So, in fact, this is a huge problem because, as I was mentioning before, AI doesn't really understand what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is not ethical, morally, etc. It only follows instructors. So we could have a concrete example in which you ask, for example, a self-driving car to take someone to the hospital as fast as possible. So the AI could generate a mistake, which is understand literally that it needs to go super quick, super fast, so it can drive at 200 kilometers per hour, which is not legal by law. So it doesn't understand the reality. So take that into account. Then another one is inequalities. As I was mentioning before, AI technologies are growing very fast. They are now in education, in governments, in journalism, etc. But as I was mentioning before, AI can also make existing social inequalities even worse. So there are already some cases in where AI systems show racism or sexist behavior. For example, facial recognition tools that misidentify people with darker skin, or hiring algorithms that prefer men over women because they were trained with biased data, etc. Privacy. I've been mentioning a lot of times that they need to use a large amount of data sets to be trained. For example, information about our habits, preferences, location, and even our faces and voices. So this fact raises questions about how the data is collected, how the data is stored, and how the data is used. So in other words, we need to ask ourselves when we use these AI tools, who has access to our data and what are they doing with it? Okay, so we have rights regarding our data. And for me, one of the most important ethical dilemmas, it's about environmental impact. So even though we normally think that these AI tools are something digital or invisible, the truth is that it has a very material cost. So we already know that AI systems, especially large language models like ChatGPT or Gemini, need huge data centers to work. So these data centers need enormous amounts of electricity, but also water and natural resources to process the information. In fact, there are some studies that are already saying that by 2027, the AI industry, as a general, could use as much energy as an entire country like the Netherlands and almost as much water as the United Kingdom. So this is a huge problem. We cannot say at the same time that to make AI sustainable and then we have this data. But the problem goes beyond this, and it's that these data centers are normally built in areas where local communities suffer the consequences. For example, electricity cuts, water scarcity, and pollution. And there is also recent news that some companies are used, in order to train the data, they hire people from different parts of the world, like Africa, and they pay them $2 a day. So yeah, I don't know if these are the conditions that we should provide. And so based on these ethical dilemmas, I would like now to show you a document that connects each dilemma with some key questions that we should all ask ourselves before using AI tools. So the idea here is that these questions can help us to think critically and decide whether or not we really want to use this specific AI tool, and if we do, how to use it, okay, in a more responsible way. So you can have access to this document. I created it for you. And to conclude the workshop, I'd like to leave with some final reflection, and then you can let me know what you think. So after everything that we have been analyzing today, exploring today, I think it should be important to say clearly that when it comes with AI tools, we should start from a position of mistrust. It's not about being pessimistic, but about being responsible. So, as I mentioned before, these AI tools are not neutral. They are created by companies with their own interests and limitations. So, our first step should always be to question them, to be critical. But also, before using the AI tool, if we have the time, we should try to investigate it a little bit and try to understand who is behind it, how it works, what kind of data it uses. And if you cannot access this information easily, that's already a problem because there is no transparency. Okay. Then, if we decide if we want to make a decision about if we are going to use it or not, we should ask ourselves the ethical questions that I provided you, but there are much more ethical questions that we can ask ourselves. For example, could the tool reinforce biases? Could it affect how our students think? Could this AI tool exclude certain groups of people? And if after analyzing you decide to use the tool, do it with full awareness. So you are the student, you are the teacher, you are the one who makes the decisions, and you are the ones who have the criteria to analyze it. So don't let the AI tools do everything for you. You need to be in the center all the time of the decision. Also, for me, it's important that you keep informing yourself about these AI tools because these tools change super quickly. So their policies, their functioning, everything is evolving. So it's important that you check in a regular basis and make sure that the tool still are aligned or not with your values. And finally, I would like also to emphasize that let's not do this alone. So these conversations about ethical aspect, about the use of AI, must happen in our departments with between students, etc., teaching teams. So ethics is not something individual; it's also something collective. So having said that, that was everything that I wanted to show to you today. So as I mentioned before, I really hope that this is helpful for you. And yeah, this was everything. So Nuril, I finished.
Okay, thank you so much, Fran, for sharing with us about the use of AI. And also, we have to think critically about the use of AI. Yeah, it was super nice to listen to your talk, and we try some hands-on activity that you provided during the webinar. So, Bapak Ibu, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, or maybe if you want to write directly the questions in the chat box, I will deliver the questions to Fran. I saw some, oh, okay, one person who raised the hand, Bu Norasia. Maybe we will focus on the one who already raised hand first. Bu Norasia, silahkan. She's raising hand, but okay, yeah, Bu Norasia, silahkan. If you want to ask directly to Fran, yeah, silakan Ibu.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity. Is my voice clear enough?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, I want to ask you, friends, before thank you for your clear explanation and have many advantages for us and new insight for me also. Okay, so my question is about even though we are a teacher or lecturer, we still need a clear or mm, specific answer about the ethical of using AI in our education. Yeah. So, do you ever using AI in your research, in conducting your research, and then how you apply or using AI ethically in your research, and then yeah, I still have many dilemma about using AI before we have to recheck or I mean like recheck about the source before and then uh, there are some there are some advantages that we can take in using AI. We still need I mean like the clearly ethic in using AI. Yeah. Do you
Okay.
get the point of my question?
Yeah, yeah. So I think you want to know if I use AI for my research, how I use it, and then if I have like concrete ethical guidelines. That was the question.
Yeah.
How do you
Okay.
apply? How do you apply the use of AI in your research ethically, especially when you use AI ethically? How do you apply it in your research? I think that's
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
question.
So if I need to use AI, I only use it to proofread my English. So, and I don't use large language models because the energy consumption I use, for example, Grammarly. But how did I decide to use it or not? As I mentioned before, um, for me, it's super important first to analyze the AI tool. So which data sets are they using? Yeah, basically I try to analyze what are their policies about privacy, where the data is stored, because a lot of AI tools come from US and I am from Europe, so perhaps I don't want my data to be in the US, etc. So I try to have an overview of the AI tool, and then I analyze myself, what are my values, let's say, what are the values of my university, etc. And then I make a decision. There is no concrete ethical guideline. There are ethical guidelines, but they are open because it's really something super new and difficult to answer. So I think it's right now, as it is, it's more a personal decision based on an overview of the AI tool. Um, but again, for me, it's important that in my research, I am the one creating something. So if I have to develop conceptualize a paper, I'm not going to ask ChatGPT, okay, which paper could I do? No, because this come from data from other people and from other papers. So I don't want to make plagiarism or to I don't want to deal with copyright issues, you know. So first, I think it should be us, the one that make the decisions, and then I don't see a problem when you proofread, for example, your English or whatever, but I wouldn't ask never the large language models to create something new because it's not going to be new. It's already something done in the past. So sorry if I was not super concrete. There in the European Union we have reports about how to use ethically AI tools for research, but again they are open guidelines, so broad, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer, Fran. A little bit connecting with the previous questions before we continue to some people who already raised hand. Is there any specific regulation in the European context or maybe in the Netherlands regarding the
Yeah.
use of AI, especially in the university or in the school or in the educational context? Yeah. Do you
So
know
okay,
some? Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, so different levels. At the European level, we have the Act. Oh, now I forgot the name of the law. It's a regulation about AI that classifies the different AI tools for high risk, etc. So depending on the classification, the companies have to do some actions or others. So at a European level, in fact, we have the first regulation, I think, about AI. Then at the university level, right now we have guidelines about how to use it in an ethical way, and how in which situation we should avoid them. But again, they are very broad. So because of they are broad, we are developing several projects in which we are trying to be as concrete as possible. For example, for our faculty, what does this mean to be ethically AI tool in my faculty, the Faculty of Science and Engineering? Because as you know, every field has its nuances. It's not the same to research in a STEM field than in arts, than in humanities, etc. So these general guidelines that we have at the university level, they are going to be concretized at the faculty level.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much, friend. Okay, now we are moving on the next question. We have some question actually on the chat box, but now
Yeah,
people.
in fact, Nuril, I saw a very interesting question that how can we know as teachers, it was something like this. How can we know as teachers if our students are cheating with
With the AI.
which is a very common concern.
Yeah,
So
and
recently I did a systematic literature review about the AI tools that are, no, sorry, the tools that are being used to detect AI generated text. And I'm sorry that I'm going to tell you this, but these tools that don't work. They don't,
they
right
don't
now,
recognize. Yeah.
no, they can do a lot of false positives, false negative, etc. So we cannot trust in this process. However, as a teacher, because I am also a teacher, um, so recently, in summer, I had to hire a PhD student, and then in this process, they needed to send me a motivational letter, and I could see perfectly the same pattern in most of the motivational letter. This means that they were using clearly AI, because
AI.
the first paragraph was about the same, the second about so it follows a pattern. And besides, if you are not English speaker, there are certain words that you don't use when you write. For example, I don't know in your case, but I am not using every day the word comprehensive. So, however, the AI tools tend to use certain
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, the
So
AI tool
it's
will
more
suggest to use this word. Yeah.
exactly. So if you, for example, send an essay to your students and most of them has the same structure, the same way of writing, etc., yeah, you cannot assure that they used AI tools, and therefore you cannot accuse them, but you can have an intuition. So right now we don't have a tool for that. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much, friend. Okay, now we are moving on. The one who already raised hand. Pak Hasbullah, would you like to open your microphone to say directly your question to Fran? Go ahead, Pak Has.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Fran.
I has.
It's me, Nuril husband. Okay, I just want to share something like the ethical problems with the use of AI in academic work anyway. As I joined kind of like a publication, each publisher will share kind of guidelines to what part of your paper you can use AI and which part of your paper which must not use AI. So I think one most important thing is that the data set. Data set within the research shouldn't be. I mean, shouldn't use AI at all, because this is like the unique finding that you have within the context of your research. And then when you are using AI, so the AI will just try to get ideas from other people and then take it into your data set, and then it's going to be a problem. Okay, agree with your explanation, saying that we have to really careful with the AI use. Yeah, whatever I use, our data will be will be what they call will be stored, yeah, in their database, right? So I think later, if the data that you have already put into AI tool, so it's gonna be in repository of their what is that data database. So there will be like indications of plagiarism within if you put that data again in the internet. So we have to be careful on that. And but now I'm questioning as well. I'm working on mindful use of AI. Anyway, so how mindful we are in using AI is also like something that we have to be very careful. We are academicians, so we have to be like honest. We have to be, we have to properly use the AI. But the problem is that we ourselves sometimes cannot, really see whether we have already, we have already uh, done beyond the limit. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like it's not me, it's AI word. It's not my
Yeah, yeah,
word,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
AI word. So how do you think we can see ourselves as a researcher or as a lecturer or as a teacher of limiting ourselves on in our like teaching practices or teaching or research process so that we claim that this is our work. So what is the limit of that so that we can use that? Only you said that it's only proof reading, but then something that we can do, something else that we can do anyway. But I don't know what that thing yet. Okay, maybe you
Yeah.
can just have a word on that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so
Hi,
much,
Has. So
Fahad.
thank you very much. Very easy question. So of course, I think in fact I think I don't have an answer to that, but I do have an answer to your first part. So you were mentioning that I think you have like a document saying which parts you can use AI, right? In an ethical way. But my question is, knowing that these AI tools are using such an amount of energy and resources, and knowing that some companies are using, yeah, they are hiring people with a very bad conditions, it can be ethical to use these AI tools if we know this, taking into account that we are in a climate change situation and that workers have rights. So that is my question, because I went to a critical literacy symposium, and one of the speakers said that by default it's not ethical use this kind of large language models because of these two aspects. So that's the question that I just wanted to emphasize here. I don't have an answer, but yeah.
Okay, thank you, Fran, for the answer. So we still have one more participant who raised the hand, Pak Arya. Go ahead, Pak Arya. Pak Arya, can you hear us? Pak Arya. Pak Arya is raising hand, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah. But we can just wait for Pak Arya a little bit by checking the questions on the chat box. Yeah, Fran.
Uh, I just wanted to mention also, Noril, that if there are some frameworks that are discussing about how to deal with student cheating, etc. So there are two frameworks. The first one say that we should promote transparency with the students, but that depends at the end of the day of our students, so we cannot assure anything. And other framework is is explaining that we should change the nature of the tasks or assignments that we are sending to our students. So if we know that an AI tool can generate an essay, perhaps we should go for oral examinations,
Yeah.
oral presentations,
Just like
etc.
direct checking
Exactly.
their knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, also you can change, so you can create a spaces free AI, it's called. So basically, but that works when you have a few students. When you have 100, it's more difficult. But there are a lot of discussion about this. But the main, if I could say something, is that scholars are trying to change the nature of the tasks. Because if you only depend on the, of course, on the transparency, yeah, some students will be honest and some of them will not. Also us, we can be honest writing our papers or not. So yeah, there are a lot of discussion about that right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fran. I think on the chat box is already answered by you, especially some people they are questioning about the line, the border, the limitation. How can we use AI ethically? And there any limits? And you say that yeah, there are some guidance, some regulation, but still it's open and it depends on us again, reflecting on what should we do. Yeah, now we know
Yeah,
that some ethical dilemmas and also some problem. I mean, we also know that the AI is powerful, but at some point they have limitations and many dilemmas. So we need to think more about the use of AI later on. Okay. Pak Arya, actually, he cannot unmute. Okay,
yeah.
wait a
Uh,
moment.
yeah, I would
Arya.
like to say a thing, Nuril, that so also we need to take into account that even we have
Okay.
ethical guidelines.
Hmm?
Ethical, at the end of the day, is a part of philosophy and the
Mm-hmm.
morality, and morality is different in Europe than in US, than in Indonesia. So it's something super contextual that, yeah, I can give you some examples of ethical guidelines, but perhaps they don't work in your context. Why? Because moral is different in every area of the world. It's the same
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
say human rights. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, we have human rights, but in every context have nuances.
Okay,
So
that's
yeah, I
great.
just want to emphasize that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, friend. Pak Arya, can you
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
your question now? Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Bapak.
Wow. Finally, I can speak here. Yeah, France or France, thank you for a very fantastic presentation. Well, as both lecturer and researchers working in the Indonesian higher education context, I have observed a growing tension. On one hand, AI tools like MS and data analyzer dramatically accelerate literature review, data coding, and even student feedback. On the other, their black box nature and ease of misuse risk blurring the lines between collaboration and academic dishonesty. So my question is, how can we as a lecturers and knowledge producer who create practical and transparent and equitable frameworks that distinguish between ethical AI augmentation and unacceptable delegation in both teaching and research, especially in resource constrained environments where student and faculty may lack consistent AI literacy training or institutional guidance. That's all my question.
Okay. So sorry, my internet was not working super well. Nuril, can you summarize the question?
Yes, so how can we create? I mean, I think the question is a bit similar with the one that we already discussed. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I get as well. So how can we limit like um what is that? Avoid dishonesty in using of AI
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our context as a lecturer,
Yeah.
as a researcher, and also as a teacher.
Yeah.
So,
This has to do, as you are mentioning, with what I was saying before. So there is a way. Now it's been researched if it works or not. It's called the traffic light system. So you, as a teacher, you provide different levels. For example, level red. You cannot, and you explain this to your students. So in the level red, let's say, you say which specific aspects of the task cannot be deal with AI. Then you have the yellow level in which you explain in which situation of this essay, for example, can be used. And then you have the green level in which you explain to your students in which yeah, in which moments they can fully use artificial intelligence. But again, this is only one part of the framework. The other one is about changing the nature of tasks. And also, yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that it can work for you and it cannot work for you at the same time. So there is not an only just one answer. There are multiple answers about this. But for me, if I have to be honest, and what I'm going to do for the next year in my academic year is to change the nature of the task. So I used to do an essay in which they had to do a research report. And then now what they are going to do is that, first of all, they are going to create the report in the classrooms. So I will be there all the time. I will try to create free AI spaces. Then I will combine this with the traffic light system. And then instead of evaluating the written report, they are going to do presentations. Of course, they can try to cheat at any moment because I will not be in their houses. But if they do the task in the classroom and then I explain to them the traffic light system and then I don't evaluate the essay but the presentation, okay, I am doing certain things to change a little bit the dynamic. So yeah, I don't know if I answered to you, but this is what I'm going to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Fran, for the answer. Okay, let's see the response from, yeah, good idea. Real-time report, right? The classroom, yeah, that's okay. Can I ask you, how many students do you have in your classroom, Fran?
That's not a good question.
Yeah,
That's not a good question because
maybe.
this year I will have 20. I know that it's way easier,
Yeah,
but
20
I know other
students. Mhm.
how many? What did you
Yeah,
say?
20 students. Yeah, 20
Which
students are okay. Yeah, but for most lecturers here, I don't think that they have only 20 students. Yeah, for me, like me, I have three
yeah.
classes, the same, the same course.
Yeah.
So it's more than 100 students. Yeah.
Okay, so what they are doing, I know teachers that are here at the University of Groningen that they have also 100 students, etc. And what they do, of course, they don't have assignments, they have examinations. And the examination, so instead of having 1 day of examination, they have, for example, 4 days of examination, and it's oral. That's what they are doing. So they are avoiding the typical assignments and then changing the examination nature. But of course, yeah, we are trying to figure it out, all of us. So right now we don't have concrete answers, but there are already papers talking about this. So I encourage you to. I will send you, in fact, some papers, Nuril, that you can share.
Okay, thank you so much, friend. So, Bapak Ibu, I think this is the end of the webinar. Again, thank you so much, friend, for sharing with us the knowledge about the critical and ethical use of AI. And
Mhm.
I think now, as a lecturers, as a students, some of the participants, they are students, and also teachers, educators, we now the time for reflect again, to reflect on the thing that we are used to do here. As I spill the information to you that most of the people here, they are, yeah, massive using the AI, but now we have to think again, we have to think ethical part, whether we can use or we can continue to use the AI or not. Yeah, so depends on Bapak Ibu semua ya. Okay, again, thank you so much, friend. I think now you just start your day there. Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again, do you want to say something to the participants here or
I just wanted
what?
to say that thank you a lot for being here and that I really try to be helpful for you. Sorry if I don't have an answer for everything.
Uh-huh.
And I just saw one of the messages from one of the participants that this webinar blow up her inside. So I am already happy with this. So,
Say-
so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, friend. So Bapak Ibu, this is the end of the webinar. Ini adalah part terakhirnya. Jadi kita akhiri webinar hari ini. We hope that our webinar today gave some insightful thinking for you all. Yeah, many people they say thank you to you, friend.
Yeah, I see.
Okay. Hopefully someday we can continue our collaboration with me in our university. Okay, somebody say gracias.
Yeah, in Spanish, very
In
beautiful.
Spanish, yeah. With Dunia Dosen, especially thank you so much for organizing this amazing webinar, and of course for Bapak Ibu semua di sini. Terima kasih banyak sudah bergabung, dan jangan lupa nanti ada webinar lagi dari Dunia Dosen. Stay tuned because we have this kind of what is it, organization who held free webinar friend for the lecturers, for the teachers in Indonesia. Okay, Bapak Ibu, thank you so much for joining us. Okay. I'm waiting for the next webinar. Okay. Dunia Dosen, good luck.
But the next one will be there in
Yeah.
Indonesia.
Yeah. Hopefully you can come here and then visit us here, especially in UM, yeah, in Malang. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, Fran, thank you so much. Have a
Okay,
good
thank
day.
you. Thanks.
Thank you again for your time sharing with us. So enjoy the rest of the day. I guess you are going to go to the office right now.
Yeah, that's true.
People there, especially for my supervisor, below supervisor Lucy.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much and bye, friend. Bapak Ibu, kita tutup.
Bye. Thank
Alhamdulillah.
you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.